Welcome into the Gridiron Grind College Football Podcast. Yes, this is a college football podcast, but our Texas Rangers just won the World Series. Cousin Garcia had the game winner in game one, got hurt a couple weeks ago. Cousin Evan came through. Huge World Series out of Cousin Evan and Cousin Adolis.
Good sports bloodline between the two of us, Trey.
Absolutely. And the Texas Rangers, something I thought I'd never hear, Jimmy, the Texas Rangers are the World Series champions.
No joke, buddy. I mean, I was just going, I think we're snake bit, man. I think we got as close as we're ever going to get. And we're going to be one of those teams that is on the cusp. And we're going to be like, we're going to be A&M. You know, we're going to be, some of these schools that you're like, oh, this is our year. And then every year it just isn't because of something, and then of course this year, oh, we got DeGrom, this is our year. Yeah. DeGrom gets hurt. And I'm not saying I'm psychic or, Nostra Jimmy, but I said, guys, it's going to be fine. We're going to get Scherzer before the trade deadline. Wow, we get Scherzer. What happens to Scherzer? Oh, injury. Snake bit, right? It's never going to happen. And then sure enough, it happens. Unbelievable.
After 2011, I just was so... And then in 12, we made the playoffs, but we had an early exit. I was just like, and then 13, I think we made the wild card, one game plan, and we got out, and I was like, man, it's never going to happen. We had our chance, we blew it. It's never going to happen. And then this team, like you said, I had high hopes, but I was worrisome, because I knew the Astros, what they had done. And I was actually, I was in a pool in Puerto Rico, drinking a pina colada, watching the TVs at the swim up bar, and it came across the Rangers just traded for Max Scherzer, and I said, "Oh my goodness, boys, we got a chance. We might win the World Series, man. We're in it to win." And then, of course, the collapse of September, late August, September. I was just like, man, we're a year away.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we call
these guys come back next year because they're all long-term guys.
I know.
Too.
And we just finished strong. We lose the division the last day, begin the playoffs, and just 11-0 on the road in the playoffs. The Texas Rangers are World Series champs. It's so awesome. All four of our pro teams here in DFW have won a world championship in our lifetime. Cowboys, Stars, Mavericks, now the Rangers. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Loved every second of it.
I think we're in several group texts together. As you got multiple times tonight after the game, I was just texting everybody that famous quote by Davy Crockett.
Absolutely.
That he said, and the quote is referenced from when he was, running for re-election in Tennessee. And he's basically telling people, if you don't elect me, he said, well, you can all go to hell. I'll go to Texas.
Yep.
And what a great quote.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the quotes we use, motivate us, everything, just state pride, Texas pride.
Yeah.
So I love texting everybody. You can all go to hell, and I'll go to Texas. World Series. We did it.
So super pumped about that. We'll get into college football, but awesome for all the Ranger fans. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of listeners who are Ranger fans, so awesome for that. It was a big week in college football. A couple shakeups. We talked about the 1.5 top 10 teams losing, and we hit the overhit too. Oregon State lost on the road at Arizona, and Oklahoma lost on the road at Kansas. So we got hit the over on that, and then the college football playoff committee first.
What a ranking!
First rankings, yeah. We got to get into that. We got a question about that today, too. So you got Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4, Washington 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8, OU 9, Ole Miss 10, and then Penn State 11. Kind of rounds it out. I was not anticipating Ohio State being first.
Yeah, and, like you said, we'll get into that in a little bit. That was shocking to me, but every year these rankings come out, and we saw this with the BCS. this is, to me, seems like one of those rankings where they go, hey guys, they still got to play Michigan. They still
Yeah.
got games they can lose. We did this is a CYA. Every year there's some CYA rankings where they basically go putting them up here so that way people can't say we're biased, we can't da da da. And then if they lose, we can go, hey, we ranked you,
Yeah.
we heard the chatter and sorry you guys couldn't do it. And that's what it felt like to me. I don't know how you put them above Georgia, but again,
I don't either. To me, a couple weeks ago, I said, I didn't think Georgia's the best team in the country. But basically ever since I said that, I mean, they've done nothing but kick butt. Right now, I think Georgia is back to being number one. Maybe number two, but if someone's better than them, I'd put Michigan. I mean, because Michigan's been beating the crap out of people too, I guess. But Ohio State, to their credit, they do have two pretty big wins. Notre Dame, who's really good,
lucky,
two-team loss.
lucky.
I mean, they were
That
lucky
should
to
have
win
an
that
asterisk by it.
one. And then Penn State.
Yeah,
And
that was a
so,
legitimate win.
and they got Penn State at 11 and Notre Dame at 15. So they're giving them two top 15 wins. So I guess I can see that. Florida State has that win over LSU, who they ranked 14th. So anyway, surprised to see Ohio State there, but it is the first college football playoff committee rankings. Long way to go. There's still 4 weeks left in the regular season. So a lot to unfold. Like I said, Ohio State, Michigan still got to play. Georgia, Alabama's got to play LSU this week, but then Georgia's going to have to play one of them in the championship. Florida State's going to have to play somebody in the ACC championship. Although North Carolina, we thought would give them a run. North Carolina's lost 2 in a row now.
Yeah.
Florida State might have the easiest path.
Florida State's conference to win.
Yep. And then Washington, Oregon. We'll see. Washington's got a tricky game this week against USC. Everybody's kind of out on USC, but this could be the week they get back. It's at USC. USC 7-2, lost to Notre Dame, and then lost to Utah. But then they came back and beat Cal by a point. Cal tried to go for 2 for the win. So I don't know. I could see USC getting it back together this week against Washington. Washington undefeated, but then you're still going to have Washington, Oregon, USC in the championship. They got to play again. And then, of course, Texas is at 7. And see what happens this week. Big week in the Big 12. 5 teams are tied atop the Big 12, and 4 of the 5 are playing each other this week. You got Bedlam, Oklahoma State, and you got Texas and Kansas State. And then the 5th team is Iowa State, and they host Kansas, who just beat Oklahoma. So this is a huge week in the Big 12 to see who's probably going to play in the Big 12 championship. So it's a huge weekend of football. I also want to talk about the other big story in college football right now, and that is this Michigan scandal. Because something has came out this week that I think, for me, puts it over the top. Now, I know a lot of people are going to see and just say they're cheating and this and that. And there's a little bit to that, but also nothing that they had done up until a few days ago, I thought really wasn't that egregious, because I know high school.
It's like the hamburger. This is, they're just nitpicking.
Because every high school team in Texas sends their junior high coaches to go scout teams they're playing in the future. And now they don't record. It is illegal in UIL in Texas to record, send a coach in the stands and record. That's illegal. But what's not illegal is to write everything down. And I know for a fact some coaches, they did this and they got burned on it because they went and watched all their games. They had junior high coaches. It was like the first district game. They had all their junior high coaches go to their game because it was like the big opponent, see if they get in the playoffs or not. And they used signals their first 5 games, and they wrote down and they had their signals. So by the time district rolled around, they had written down and they had confirmed they knew all their signals. And so they were really prepared. Like, hey, we're going to know what plays they're going to run. We know how to get ready. Well, that team that they spent all that week scouting, what they did when district started? They came out in wristbands. So they just called like numbers off the wristband. And then that didn't matter. So I know for a fact high school teams do that, but you're not allowed to record. So recording it, buying tickets and going to the game and scouting, I don't think that's egregious. Now,
Yeah.
videotaping that might cross the line, but you're going to get those anyway. But what I'm talking about that came out 2 weeks ago, this is egregious. This Connor Stallions cat that was kind of at the crux of this sign stealing deal.
Mhm.
He's
He's
on
a scapegoat.
the Central Michigan sideline wearing Central Michigan gear when they played Michigan State, and he's wearing glasses, Ray-Bans with a camera in the lens, and it has a blue light, and they found the specific sunglasses, and they have a camera. That's crossing the line.
Wow.
Getting on the sideline for another team. I don't know how he did it. Jim McElwain is the head coach of Central Michigan. He's saying he didn't know. He, was unaware of this and that. But getting on the sideline for another team and then scanning that and wearing a camera and glasses, that crosses the line. And Harbaugh can say he doesn't know anything about it, all he wants. But that's crossing the line when you go.
Yeah, and they'll never be able to prove Harbaugh, but that direction that may not have come directly from Harbaugh, but it came from someone who talked to Harbaugh, who Harbaugh knew. But that's why you put those guys up. There's a famous quote, in chess, the pawns go first, right?
Yep.
That's what that guy's expendable.
Yep.
He's a scapegoat. But you will not convince me that Harbaugh did not know.
Yeah.
I believe there's a lot of these big time coaches that stuff happens and they don't know, but Harbaugh's track record, Harbaugh knew. This was something that Harbaugh thought he'd found a loophole.
Exactly.
And something. And hey guys, technology allows us, like Ray Lewis and the what was that, the doe antler felt spray when he tore his pec off the bone and then competed in the Super Bowl that year. And what happened the next year? The NFL outlawed it. That was a loophole he had found. This is
and he might not know the specifics. He might not know the specifics of how these signs are getting obtained, but he knows, hey, we're getting all these signs. Like, wow, this is really great work. How do we get all these signs? I mean, he knows. He knows up to a certain extent. He might not know the specifics of how the sausage is being made, but he knows.
Yeah. He knows.
This is some sausage.
He knows what
I don't know how we're getting this sausage.
Yeah. He knows what it tastes like.
It's kind of like if you watch Yellowstone. Okay, John Dutton might not tell Rip to take him to the train station, but when Rip takes those guys to the train station and they don't show up on the ranch anymore, he knows.
He knows.
He knows. So, interesting to see how it plays out, because I think if it comes down too hard on Michigan, Jim Harbaugh's just going to go to the NFL. I think he'll say something.
I agree. I think he'll get back in there, and he's got his, what I call his illegitimate son, looks exactly like him, Brock Purdy. Now that Brock is he's come back down, he's mortal.
Yeah,
they found his kryptonite. So yeah, I think what a scandal, man!
What a scandal! Keep an eye on it.
Chasing Ohio State.
Yep. Next segment, and now everybody's like, well, no, now that's how they've beaten Ohio State 2 years in a row. Scandal. Signs don't count. Next segment is questions of the week. Get your questions in. You can email us, gridirongrindsports@gmail.com. You can direct message us on Twitter, X, Instagram, where our website's gridironsports.com. You can comment on our videos, and we'll pick our best questions each week. We got 2 questions here for our college football podcast. And the first one, Jimmy, is from Eric from Pottsboro, Texas. He DM'd us on Twitter. Okay. And his question is, do y'all agree with the committee on having Ohio State ranked first in the playoff poll? Who is y'all's top 4? So, Jimmy, we'll let you start with this one. You agree with Ohio State being number 1?
I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't know how you can. Here's my answer. I know why they're number 1, because we talked about it a little bit. The CYA, every year there's a CYA move that the committee makes. Like, it really wouldn't have surprised me if they came out all of a sudden, Ohio State won, Michigan 2. Michigan won, Ohio State 2. The teams still got to play each other. And they're sitting here going, okay, if Ohio State beats Michigan, well, they're probably number 1. So we'll leave them up there. But if they don't, then Michigan beats them, and it's no big deal. So And I don't agree with it. I don't think you can dethrone Georgia number one. I just don't. I my top four, I had Georgia, probably Georgia, or I would flop Georgia and Ohio State, and then probably flop Michigan and Florida State. I think they got the top four. I think they got the top five right. Washington
Yep.
being number five. I think they should be number five, right there on the cusp. Their body of work. They have a Heisman. They probably have the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, and Michael Penix. But yeah, I think it should go Georgia, Ohio State, Florida State, Michigan. That's just me.
If it was me, yeah, I was surprised Ohio State was one. I get it, like you're saying. I mean, I get it, but I wouldn't have that. I have Georgia number one. They've really impressed me the last 2 weeks, and I think they're finding their stride. And they got another test this week against Missouri, but they're what, a 2-touchdown favorite.
Yeah.
So Vegas doesn't expect that one to be close either. But I think Georgia's really finding their stride. I'd have Georgia one. I'd have Michigan two, because Michigan's beating the brakes off everybody. Now they haven't played anybody, but they're beating the brakes off of them. And we'll know starting next week, they get Penn State on the road.
Mhm.
So you'll at least have something to compare them. They play Purdue at home this week. That'll be nothing. They're favored by 33, I think. But then you're about to find out Michigan ends with at Penn State, Maryland, and home against Ohio State after this week. But I'd have Michigan two. And after thinking that, I would have Ohio State three, because I think they have two impressive wins. I think Florida State has a very good win over LSU. That's why I'd have them fourth. And I'd have Washington fifth. Washington has a big win against Oregon, and I think it's a very impressive win. So that would be
And
my
that's
four: Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, with Washington on the outside, and then Alabama, Texas, Oregon fighting for that, 6, 7, 8.
and I think it pacifies two fan bases, Ohio State and Michigan. Or Ohio State, excuse me, and Washington. Because you put Ohio State there. If Ohio State loses to Michigan, you can go, well, guys, we ranked you. Washington, you can go, guys, you're number five. Guess what? Ohio State and Michigan still got to play each other.
Yep.
It's early, it's fine. You know what I mean? There's I think Georgia expected to be there, Michigan, Florida State expected to be there. So really it's Ohio State. To me, it's Ohio State and Washington. I mean, Ohio State you expected to be there, but it's like number one. I don't think so. But yeah, again, it's early. Everybody freaks out over the first ones. And like you and I
Yeah,
have
they
talked
do.
about, because
They
we
do.
did the same thing. We were like, oh my God, when this first came out,
Just weren't
first ever
expecting that.
playoff rankings. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, wait, what? And then you and I got looking at it, we're like, bro, that's just a CYA. They're just saying we ranked you, we put you in the top four, so that way we could say we did it. And then when you guys lose, we can go, well, we ranked you. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so thanks for the question, Eric from Pottsboro, for that college football playoff ranking question.
like it. Frida, I got one from you sent to me via Twitter. I will not call it X, it's Twitter.
Yep.
Jim Bob, I have to look at it twice. It is his name, Jim Bob from Durant, Oklahoma. Makes sense. He asked, with this being the last Bedlam game for the foreseeable future, do you think that gives the Oklahoma State Cowboys some extra motivation this week? Who do you think wins? It's a two-part question. Do you think it gives them extra motivation this week? And who do y'all think wins the game? Note, OU is favored by 6.
It probably does give them extra motivation, because I mean the kids are the kids, and some of them probably grew up Oklahoma State fans, grew up for that rivalry. Some of them probably grew up OU fans and didn't get an opportunity to go play football at OU, went to Oklahoma State. Some of them, a lot of the kids from Oklahoma State are from Texas, and they probably didn't grow up rooting for Oklahoma State, but that was their best opportunity.
But they hated OU.
Yeah, they might have hated OU, but they
Yeah.
didn't grow up with the rivalry. But in saying that, Stillwater, we've both been there. Great place, great college town. There's a buzz around Stillwater about this. I mean, it's a big thing to the alumni at OSU. It's a big thing to the community. So those kids are feeling that. They're getting the sense that, hey, this is the last time that this Bedlam rivalry is going to take place for a very long time. Oklahoma has dominated that. I think OSU only has like
Oh God,
17 or 18 wins to
it is not
Oklahoma's
even
like
close.
70 or something.
That is one of the most lopsided
Yeah.
statistics I ever heard. Look it up.
Yeah,
That
it's really
is
bad.
really, you would think it would be closer. It's not.
No.
It's not.
Yeah. I mean, they've played almost 90 times or 100 times, and OSU hadn't even won 20 times yet.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, yeah, I think it does give them added motivation. Oklahoma, since they beat Texas, they had a bye. They had a scare against Central Florida, survived a 2-point play to win by 2. Loss on the road to Kansas. Now they're going on the road again. And
Mhm.
I don't want to sound too homerish here, but what Oklahoma State has done in their 3-game winning streak is run the football. Ollie Gordon, running back out of Euless,
Leads the nation.
out of Euless Trinity, leads the nation in rushing yards. He's got 10 touchdowns. Already has over 1,000 yards rushing. His stats, he rushed for against Kansas State. He had like 157 yards. 2 weeks ago, he had 220 yards, 250 something yards. Last week, he had 274. The guy's been on a tear. And here's the deal: Oklahoma, everybody's been able to run the football against Oklahoma. It's been a little bit of a weakness for them. Even when they beat Texas, Texas still ran the ball on them. So I kind of think, man, you gotta get the upset vibes. I don't want to be too homerish, but I mean, this is in Oklahoma State. It's a 2:30 game. If it was a night game at Boone Pickens Stadium, I would 100% call for the upset. Absolutely. It's a 2:30 game. You know, Oklahoma's just dominated, and something tells me that they might get back on track. Gabriel did not have a good game last week, so this could be a week for that. Gun to my head right now, I definitely like Oklahoma State to cover. Maybe I think it'd be a tight game. Gun to my head, I'll pick the Pokes just because they're playing really good football right now, and something's been off with Oklahoma in the last 2 weeks. Don't quite know what it is, so guess I'd take the Pokes. But I think it's gonna be a great game. Wouldn't be surprised either way who wins this game.
I think the pressure got to Oklahoma and
Maybe
Gabriel,
so.
and that's why, and you knew UCF was going to play a good game. It's where Gabriel transferred from, and he was going to try to, do a little extra, and that's what it kind of seemed like. He didn't look like himself. But now they're looking ahead. If I'm Oklahoma, you're going, yeah, we need to win this game, but we've got to win. You're looking ahead because you're trying to play for a Big 12 championship. And hopefully some stuff falls your way and maybe you can backdoor into the playoffs. But there's upset vibes and Stillwater and a rivalry game and Oklahoma potentially looking ahead. So yeah, this is a game I'm excited to see this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna be actually down in Austin. I am going there. It's my first time taking. Got 3 daughters. Taking the wife. She's been with me a few times. Taking the 3 daughters because Texas does this huge tailgating stuff. Bevo Boulevard. You get to Bevo. They parade out of his trailer into the stadium. Everybody lines up for that. The stadium stampede. The team lines up, but they kind of created it like a kids section. It's like the state fair. There's all these rides, inflatable games, rides, the cheerleaders. Girls can take pictures with them, get their face painted. But it's at 11 o'clock, so we got to get there to do all this at like 7 a.m. Just brutal, dude. 11 a.m. games suck. So gonna watch that. And then after that, gonna go check out, watch Bedlam on the TV. So looking forward to that. Thanks for the question. Jim Bob from Durant, Oklahoma. Sure, he's got some skin in the game for that last Bedlam game. Last segment, it's our pick segment. And Jimmy, I finally had an undefeated week. Last week in college, 3-0. I went short and got 3-0. I have a winning record on the season now, 18-15. Jimmy, we didn't have a losing week. You were 2-2 last week.
2-2.
So improvement. 17-23 on the season.
A lot of parity in this fall college football season.
A lot of parity. This year more than any has been a ton of parity. So I boiled it down. I had 8 on my sheet, but I boiled it down. I'm going to give 5.
I'm going 5 as well.
All right.
High 5. Let's do it.
High 5. 5 apiece. My first game Let me pull up my notes here. First game is Thursday night. It's Troy -4 against South Alabama. Troy has been playing some great football. I think they're the best team in the Sun Belt. They have the number one ranked defense in the Sun Belt. Quarterback's been pretty good. Gunnar Watson. He's been playing his best ball the last couple of games. But their running back, Kamani Vidal, has really been running the football. He's just 6 yards shy of 1,000 yards on the season. So I like Troy. I think they have the best team in the Sun Belt. I think they definitely have the best defense, and they're at home, and they're only favored by 4. So I like that combination. Thursday night football. Give me Troy Trojans -4 hosting South Alabama.
I like it. That made my short list as well because Troy's been really impressive.
Yep.
They've been whipping up. So I like that bet, Trey. Me, I'm going to start with Saturday. Alabama LSU. Jaden Daniels is quietly leading the NCAA in passing touchdowns 25 to 3 interceptions. Now, he did not impress me at Arizona State. He didn't really impress me this year at LSU. So when I saw this stat, it kind of caught me off guard. LSU goes to Alabama favored at +3. This seems like the game where Alabama loses and it's just over. Again, Nick Saban very rarely goes undefeated. He's already lost once to Texas. I think he picks up his second loss. Give me LSU +3 on the road against Alabama.
It's got some SEC West title implications. Alabama's currently undefeated with a win over Ole Miss. Ole Miss with 1 loss with a win over LSU. That's LSU's only loss is to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has to play Georgia next week. Okay? So if LSU can go into Tuscaloosa and win this game, it is a high probability LSU will end up winning the SEC West again for the second time. So big game, and I kind of think you're right. That feels like an upset.
This feels like one of those games where Bama they've been on track, they get off track.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels able to make some plays. He's able to make a couple more plays than Milroe is, and LSU wins the game.
I mean, LSU might have the best offense in the country too. I mean, they're up there with Washington and USC. I mean, that's how dynamic the LSU offense has been. My second one, Friday night. Boston College is on the road at Syracuse. Boston College is +3. I like Boston College here +3. I think they have their quarterback. It's not very big, but he's real shifty. He's a dual threat guy. Syracuse has struggled with dual threat quarterbacks here. And the quarterback at Boston College, Thomas Castigliones, he has been very good on third downs. And Syracuse has given up a ton. They've lost, I think, 4 games in a row after starting off undefeated. Now they're 4-4. Boston College, they almost had the upset of Florida State. I'm a little wary of it being on the road, but I think Boston College is the better football team. +3. Give me on Friday night, Boston College +3 at Syracuse.
I like that one, man. I like it. I'm going to stay in the SEC. Kentucky at Mississippi State. Give me Kentucky -3. Mississippi State is not good. They beat my Hogs 7-3 because we can't apparently complete the forward pass. That's the game that got Dan Enos fired.
Yeah.
That tells you how bad Mississippi State is. When a team is willing to fire their offensive coordinator because you can only muster 3 points on Mississippi State, that should tell you all you need to know. Give me Kentucky, who I believe is the better team, on the road, Kentucky -3.
I like that one. I agree. Kentucky, after being so hot and just pounding Florida, they've had 2 losses where they got drummed by Georgia and then lost last week to Tennessee. But I think it's a great bet. I think Kentucky bounces back against Mississippi State. My third one, I'm on to Saturday games, and I got another Sun Belt game. Is Georgia Southern at Texas State. Give me Georgia Southern -2.
Yeah.
I gave out Georgia Southern last week against Georgia State -1. It won for me. It hit. I think Georgia Southern, really good football team, coached by Clay Helton. Texas State, they played their butts off last week against Troy. I think it might have been like a pour it all out kind of, have a chance to make the Sun Belt Championship against Troy. They fell short. I think if Georgia Southern doesn't turn the ball over, which that's been a bit of the problem for them, Texas State has turned it over as well. So I think Georgia Southern, if they take care of it, they can win the turnover battle. And even though it's on the road, I really like Georgia Southern to cover again this week. Give me Georgia Southern -2 at Texas State.
I like it. I like it. Mine, we're going to go to the ACC. Notre Dame, Clemson. Notre Dame on the road at Clemson, favored by 3. Give it to me. Yep. Notre Dame -3. Notre Dame's the better team. Clemson, the shine on Dabo is gone. Notre Dame's the better team, and I think Notre Dame covers that 3 points. Clemson isn't Clemson, so give me Notre Dame.
I love this bet, and it was on my list. I took it off my Gridiron Grind list because I think I'm going to add it on Coffee with Creta. I'm just waiting to see what the line does. But at Notre Dame -3, I mean, you got to take it to the bank. I think Notre Dame is going to beat the crap out of them. I don't care if it's a Clemson or not. I think Notre Dame's that much better of a football team. My fourth one, a little off the radar here. New Mexico State -3 against Middle Tennessee State. New Mexico State run game and their quarterback, Diego Pavia, they have been just nonstop running the football, and that's what's given Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee State is one of the worst teams in the country at stopping the run. New Mexico State used it to beat Louisiana Tech last week. I think they'll do it again. I think the run game gives New Mexico State a decided advantage here. Give me New Mexico State -3 at home versus Middle Tennessee State.
I like it. My fourth one, I'm going Boise State at Fresno State, late night game. Fresno State favored by 3, and I think they cover. The quarterback has passed for 19 touchdowns this year. Keene, he's almost 2,000 passing yards, and I think Fresno State's the better team, 7-1. Boise State comes in 4-4 at even. Fresno State at home -3. Yeah, give me the Bulldogs.
I think you're benefiting from a great number because Boise State beat the crud out of Wyoming last week. And I think that brought this number, which probably should be Fresno State more like a touchdown, is now down to 3. So I think you're getting a great number because of what Boise State did last week, because Wyoming beat Fresno State. I think Fresno State's the better team. I think it's a great pick. All right, my fifth one, going with another DFW team to stay hot for the Rangers. Give me the SMU Mustangs -12 at Rice. Have you seen SMU the last couple weeks? I mean, they've just been beating the dog out of people. They scored 50 in the first half the last 2 weeks. I mean, they are rolling. Rice 4-4, a lot of injuries on the Rice football team. They're a quality 4-4 team. But this SMU team, they use the portal to their advantage. Preston Stone's their quarterback. He's got a lot of weapons to throw the football to. Their best defensive player was a kid who transferred from Texas, Chris Adamora, who was a safety, and now he's a linebacker. He's beefed up and with the linebacker. He's their best, leading the team in tackles. SMU is just beating the dog out of people. Now, it was Tulsa and Temple, but Rice 4-4 banged up. I think SMU goes down to Houston and puts a beating on the Owls. Give me SMU Mustangs -12 at Rice.
I like it. For my last one, going Bedlam. Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Last time this will be played for the foreseeable future. We touched on it. Oklahoma favored by 6 on the road in Stillwater. Give me the Cowboys +6. I will even go to say, might as well throw some on the money line too. +190. Do one of the two. I think Oklahoma State wins this game. Oklahoma looking ahead, looking for too much. Oklahoma State's going, boys, We don't got any playoffs to look forward to. We don't got any Big 12 championships to look forward to. You know what we got to look forward to? Taking it to Oklahoma. And when they exit the conference, much like Texas did to A&M, going,
Yeah.
hey, you know, read between the lines, we're out. You boys face that loss for the next few years.
It's true.
Oklahoma State's been on a roll. OU coming off that Kansas. Give me the Cowpokes +6. And if you feel so inclined, throw it on the money line.
Yeah. I can't imagine the bragging rights that go on in the state of Oklahoma.
Mhm.
Oklahoma State wins the last Bedlam game. I went to law school at Oklahoma City University, which is located in downtown Oklahoma City. And there's a lot more Sooner fans than Cowboy fans up there.
Yeah.
And it would be, oh, what a hanging over their heads for eternity. Oklahoma State might not ever schedule them again. They can hold that over their heads. Hey, you all dominated the series, but we won the last one, baby. And it's huge for Oklahoma State because, like I said, they're part of a 5-way tie for Big 12 in first place. So if they beat Oklahoma, they're going to have a tiebreaker over them, and they finish. Their schedule is very manageable down the stretch. They could lock themselves into the championship game with the win over Oklahoma this week. So we got 10 bets, 5 apiece. So here's our Gridiron Grind best bet recaps for Jimmy. He's got LSU +3, Kentucky -3, Notre Dame -3, Fresno State -3, and Oklahoma State +6. Myself, Thursday night, I got Troy -4. Friday night, Boston College +3. Then on Saturday, I got Georgia Southern -2, New Mexico State -3, SMU -12. There's our 10 best bets for the week of college football. Again, we had a combined winning week last week. Have another one this week. It's going to be this is one of the best Saturdays of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Football, I'm excited to be down in Austin, see Texas take on Kansas State. That's a ranked matchup. Then you got Alabama, LSU. You got Bedlam, Washington, USC. It's going to be a great day of football. And we're both big basketball guys. Jimmy, earlier this week, shout out RIP to the legend, Bobby Knight. Just one of his favorite quotes when he said it, I think it was like at a pep rally or something, and he was like, "When I die, I hope they bury me upside down so all my critics can kiss my ass." Legendary quote from Bobby Knight.
Legend. And he's up there throwing chairs in heaven.
Throwing chairs. Look at just YouTube, some Bobby Knight's antics back in the 80s, 90s. So anyway, that'll do it for our show. College football podcast in the books. Rangers win the World Series. We gave you 10 best bets. It's going to be a heck of a weekend. And let's get to it. We'll be out with our NFL pod the next day. We're a day late this week because we wanted to record in case the Rangers won the World Series. So we recorded Wednesday night after that. So we waited for that. Forgive us. So college pod will come out on Thursday. NFL pod will come out on Friday. Don't miss that. We'll talk Cowboys, Eagles all day. And then the post-game show after the Cowboys game on Sunday. So join us for that. GridironGrindSports.com is our website. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And as Jimmy said, you may all go to hell. I'll go to Texas. Rangers, World Series champs. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys on down the road.